You know, people think a divorce just ends a marriage, but for me, it almost ended everything.
It was the peak of British car television. Millions of viewers around the world tuned in to watch gleaming machines, flawless restorations, and the quiet charm of Ant Anstead, the former police officer turned master mechanic who had become the face of modern motoring shows. From wheeler dealers to master mechanic, his calm presence and technical brilliance made him one of the most respected hosts in the business. But behind the cameras, Ant's picture-perfect life was beginning to crack. In the shadows of his growing fame, his marriage to Christina Hack, the American home design star known from Flip or Flop, was collapsing. What began as a whirlwind romance between two television personalities turned into a public spectacle of heartbreak, court filings, and custody battles that played out across international tabloids. Rumors spread, careers were questioned, and the same media that once praised his craftsmanship began dissecting his private pain. This wasn't just another celebrity breakup. It was the kind of emotional car crash that doesn't just end a marriage, it threatens a reputation built over decades. What happens when one of television's most composed presenters loses control of the one thing he can't rebuild: his personal life? This is the untold story of the divorce that nearly ended Ant Anstead's career. And trust me, it's more dramatic than any restoration he's ever completed. If you're new here, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because what's coming next will leave you speechless. Let's dive in. Before fame, he was a police officer with the Hertfordshire Constabulary, joining the tactical firearms team and earning commendations for bravery. Viewers who later saw him calm under TV pressure never realized he had once handled real-world crises. In 2005, Ant made a life-changing decision. He quit policing to focus on car restoration full-time. No fame, no guarantees, just a single garage and raw determination. Within a few years, his custom builds were appearing at British car shows and private collections, recognized for precision and style. Every project told the same story. He didn't just repair cars, he re-engineered them from the ground up. Television found him, not the other way around. His first major series, For the Love of Cars, paired him with actor Philip Glenister and instantly showcased his authenticity, the quiet craftsman with the hands of a mechanic and the focus of an engineer. The chemistry worked. Critics praised his ability to explain complex restorations in plain English, the hallmark of a real expert, not a presenter reading lines. By 2017, Discovery took notice. Ant joined Wheeler Dealers, replacing the longtime co-host Ed China. It was a risky move. Replacing a fan favorite can end careers overnight. But Ant handled it like he handled every rebuild, with patience, detail, and skill. His first episodes pulled strong viewership, and fans across the UK and US began calling him the calm in the chaos. Every appearance raised his profile: motor shows, interviews, brand collaborations, and transatlantic recognition. He became one of the few British hosts to successfully cross into American television, later producing Ant Anstead Master Mechanic in 2019. By then, his reputation was sealed: a craftsman first, a celebrity second. The man who had left the police to follow a dream was now representing British engineering on the world stage. But high visibility brings high pressure. With new fame came new scrutiny, and as cameras turned brighter, personal challenges quietly followed. Because in the entertainment world, the climb is fast, but the fall can be faster. By late 2017, Ant Anstead's professional success had carried him to California, where television opportunity met personal fate. During a Christmas special shoot, he met Christina Hack, the home renovation star known from Flip or Flop. Both were coming out of long marriages. Both were raising children while juggling camera crews and corporate sponsorships. Their chemistry was instant, and within months tabloids called them TV's transatlantic power couple. They married the 22nd of December 2018 in a small Newport Beach ceremony, keeping the event off camera and away from networks. Christina's HGTV fanbase and Ant's Wheeler Dealers following merged overnight, creating a household name that spanned home design and automotive culture. The pair launched a new HGTV series, Christina on the Coast, where Ant appeared as the supportive husband. Viewers praised their balance, her design expertise, his mechanical calm, a rare crossover between British restoration television and American lifestyle programming. In September 2019, their son Hudson London Anstead was born. Social media painted the image of perfection: the dream home, the newborn, and 2 successful shows on rival networks. But privately, the adjustment was rough. Production schedules, cross-country flights, and the pressure of raising 5 children from previous relationships created constant strain. Ant's filming for Wheeler Dealers in the UK often left Christina solo parenting. Christina's HGTV commitments left Ant isolated in California. By early 2020, subtle tension began to show. Fans noticed fewer joint posts. Paparazzi spotted Ant alone at events he once attended with his wife. Then, in September 2020, Christina announced on Instagram that the two had separated, calling it a difficult decision. Behind the scenes, insiders described burnout and lifestyle clash rather than betrayal or scandal. Still, the timing was brutal. Pandemic restrictions halted production, sponsorships paused, and both stars were left managing public image while grieving privately. What looked like another Hollywood breakup quickly turned into a media storm. For Ant, the headlines weren't about cars anymore, they were about custody, relocation, and emotional fallout. Within weeks, he stopped posting entirely, later admitting that the separation sent him into a dark place. The man known for restoring broken machines suddenly had to rebuild something else, his own life. By the end of 2020, the cracks in Ant Anstead's private life were no longer private. When Christina Hack officially filed for divorce in November 2020, the story dominated headlines across both sides of the Atlantic. What had begun as a quiet separation turned into a public unraveling, one that neither network could hide. Fans who once followed their dream homes and classic car rebuilds were now following court updates, social media posts, and paparazzi photos. Ant largely stayed silent, avoiding the kind of public back and forth that can destroy reputations overnight. But the emotional toll was visible. In interviews later, he admitted that the split hit harder than anything in his life. He described feeling completely broken and admitted he'd gone through a real dark night of the soul. During those months, Ant entered a faith-based recovery program in California, where he later said he learned to find stillness and rebuild perspective. He wasn't promoting a show, he wasn't selling a brand. For the first time, Ant was simply surviving. Meanwhile, Christina moved forward publicly, focusing on her HGTV projects and sharing glimpses of a new chapter. The contrast was brutal. Tabloids painted Ant as the heartbroken ex, while social media flooded with speculation about custody, money, and who was to blame. For a man whose reputation was built on calm professionalism, the constant noise was almost unbearable. "I'm not okay," he admitted in a now-deleted post, one of the rare glimpses of raw honesty that came from him during that period. It wasn't a publicity line, it was a confession. Professionally, the timing couldn't have been worse. Ant had just completed seasons of Wheeler Dealers and Master Mechanic, both dependent on his image as a dependable craftsman. The divorce headlines began bleeding into that image. Fans debated whether he'd leave television altogether. Sponsorship deals paused. In an industry built on presentation, personal chaos can cost opportunity. But what most viewers didn't realize was that Ant's silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. He refused to retaliate or exploit the story for attention, even when gossip outlets offered him quick paydays for interviews. That restraint, though admirable, made him look invisible while the tabloids shaped their own narrative. Every week brought a new headline. Every photo seemed to tell a story he couldn't control. By June 2021, the divorce was finalized. On paper, the settlement was clean, shared custody, no dramatic financial battles. But emotionally, the damage was deep. Ant later described that year as the moment everything stopped. He'd lost his marriage, part of his audience, and the sense of control that had defined his entire career. For someone whose identity was built around rebuilding things, cars, shows, even reputations, it was the first time he couldn't fix what was broken. When he finally returned to social media months later, he posted a single image, his son Hudson, smiling beside a car they were restoring together. No caption, no statement. Just silence and a new beginning. It was subtle, but powerful, the quiet signal that he wasn't finished yet, because sometimes the loudest comeback starts in silence. In April 2022, legal documents revealed that Ant Anstead had filed a motion seeking full legal custody of his son with Christina Hack, citing his belief he'd been the primary parent and alleging Christina spent an average of 9 full days each month with their son. The motion also accused Christina of exploiting their son through paid social media promotions and requested that the court issue a restraining order preventing either parent from using the child's likeness commercially without written consent. The very next day, a judge denied Ant's emergency custody request, citing insufficient notice to Christina and a lack of critical circumstances demanding immediate action. As word of the filings spread, headlines shifted from Ant's television projects to his personal life. Media outlets picked up on the accusations, the filings, and the raw emotions from both sides. What was once private became a public spectacle. In September 2022, court filings showed Christina denied the exploitation allegations, stating that her son appeared in only a few short Instagram ads that were fun, non-commercial, and filmed with his consent, and that the request to ban use of Hudson's image was unfounded. She also wrote that Ant's decision to take the case public instead of using private mediation was deeply saddening, suggesting the battle was as much about image and control as custody. Only months later, in December 2022, Ant and Christina reached a settlement. They agreed to joint legal and physical custody of their son. The media storm calmed, but the damage to Ant's public reputation and emotional state had already been done. This legal fight wasn't just a standard custody dispute. It exposed fault lines in Ant's career image. The craftsman presenter under siege, the dad fighting for control, the celebrity whose private collapse began to overshadow his public persona. And while the cameras had once captured him at his professional best, now they captured his struggle. Because in the spotlight, the personal becomes public, and when the personal unravels, it can threaten everything you've built. The custody battle didn't just test Ant Anstead personally, it put his entire career under pressure. In television, image is everything, and for years Ant's brand was built on calm craftsmanship and integrity. But now, his name was appearing less in car show promotions and more in gossip headlines. Networks that once celebrated his expertise suddenly had to manage a PR risk. Sponsors hesitated. Collaboration slowed. The gentleman mechanic had become a trending topic for all the wrong reasons. Ant kept quiet, refusing to engage publicly, hoping silence would protect what was left of his credibility. But in the entertainment world, silence often creates its own noise. Rumors spread that he'd been dropped from projects or blacklisted. The truth was simpler, but just as damaging. He was still working, just behind the scenes, while the industry watched to see if the controversy would fade. For months, his visibility dimmed. Ant later admitted that fame is fragile. One bad headline can undo years of trust. He was living that reality. What began as a private divorce had evolved into a professional reckoning. But under the surface, he was already preparing his next move. Because if there's one thing Ant Anstead knows how to do, it's rebuild. By 2023, Ant Anstead had quietly started to rebuild, not through interviews or headlines, but through work. He shifted focus back to what defined him: craftsmanship and innovation. Partnering with Formula One champion Jenson Button, he co-founded the revival of Radford, the iconic British coach builder. Their first release, the Radford Lotus Type 62-2, earned global attention and reminded everyone that Ant wasn't done, he was evolving. At the same time, his private life finally found calm. His relationship with Renee Zellweger, which began on Celebrity IOU Joyride, stayed deliberately low profile. No photo ops, no red carpet drama, just quiet balance. It was the complete opposite of the chaos that had once defined his headlines. Professionally, Ant became more selective. He turned down noisy projects and focused on authentic storytelling, design, restoration, and fatherhood. His social media transformed too. Fewer quotes, more gratitude. Viewers noticed the shift from survival to purpose. The man once buried in scandal was now shaping a comeback built on humility and hard work. Ant summed it up best in one interview. "You don't get to choose what breaks you, but you do get to choose what you build next." And that's exactly what he did: rebuild, refine, and rise again. Despite the tumult of the past few years, Ant Anstead quietly began steering his story into new terrain. In 2024, he launched a fresh TV venture that blends his signature mechanical expertise with lifestyle makeover. A series filming his work converting a 500-year-old UK farmhouse into a workshop and restoration space. This shift signaled more than just a show, it was a recalibration of his brand, moving from tabloid fodder back into craftsmanship and design. At the same time, Ant's personal life settled into a calmer rhythm. His relationship with Renee Zellweger became public in 2021. And unlike his previous highly visible marriage and split, this partnership has stayed deliberately low-key and grounded. With both his home base and studio shifting between the UK and US, Ant embraced a transatlantic identity that complements his reinvention. Professionally, Ant turned the page on being the celebrity architect of cars and embraced being the creative engineer of spaces and machines. His involvement in design ventures, such as the revival of the brand Radford in partnership with Jensen Button, reinforce this transition, placing focus on bespoke engineering and legacy-driven builds over showmanship. In essence, the man who once seemed defined by crisis is now defined by craft. The divorce that nearly derailed him has become the backdrop for a comeback rooted not in noise, but in nuance. Ant isn't just rebuilding cars anymore, he's rebuilding himself. And if this next chapter proves anything, it's that reinvention isn't just possible, it's the only way forward. Every rebuild tells a story not of perfection, but of persistence. Ant Anstead's journey reminds us that even the strongest engines can stall, but what truly defines a craftsman is how he restarts. From heartbreak to healing, from scandal to stability, he proved that rebuilding isn't just about metal or machines, it's about the man holding the wrench. If this story left you thinking differently about fame, failure, and second chances, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and tell us what part of Ant's journey hit hardest for you. Your support keeps us bringing you the untold truths behind the world's most iconic car legends.